set up. Okay. What's up, guys? Just getting set up, checking we're rolling everywhere, and then we will be good to go, guys. So we are live on Twitch. We are live on the website. Cool. And is YouTube running? Looks like we're live on the YouTubes as well. What is up, everyone? Hope you're all having a good day. So in this live stream, we're going to be researching the main event from this weekend, which is Marvin Vettori against Paulo Costa. So very good fight this. One of the best main events I think we've had on a fight night card in a while. And with both these guys in the even money odds range, this one could be a good one for betting as well. Looking forward to diving into this fight. So if you're watching this video after the fact on YouTube, this is a live stream, so we're going to be researching this fight live as a group together. And just letting you guys know, because a lot of the time people come watch a video after the fact and then ask why there's no timestamps. They ask why the video isn't that well structured, that kind of thing. It's just because it's a live stream and we're going to be researching this fight together, learning about these two guys and how they match up against each other stylistically, while watching their past fights together and try and dig up any decent bets on this fight, see if we can make some cash on this one. So thank you all for joining me, boys, this afternoon, and girls, and pandas, and anyone else that's watching. Let's get into it. Let's go. So one final check just to make sure we're good to go. We are. Brilliant. Okay, let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Alright then, so let's go. Vettori versus Costa. So we'll start off by taking a look at the odds. So both these guys are in the even money odds range at the moment, although you can see Vettori's odds have started to decline quite a bit in the last 24 hours, which is why I wanted to prioritize this fight and get it done before they decline anymore. So average odds available on Vettori right now, I would say, are about 1.70, which is minus 143 for an implied probability of 59%. And if we take a look at the odds on Costa, his average odds are around about, say, 2.20, which is plus 120 for an implied probability of 45%. So both these guys are in the even money odds range, which means at worst we need to find an even money bet. So we need to pick one of these guys for the even money category of bets we've got on the website. As you see, these bets have been performing really well over the last, well, almost 2 years now. We're about break even this month on even money bets. In fact, I think we are dead break even. So with two events left to come in October, really hoping we can finish the month strong and perform pretty good on these final two events of the month to make sure that we end the month in profit on even money bets. I'm betting even money bets pretty big at the moment. I'm going about £1,000 flat on every even money bet, which is about, I think it's like $1,400 something like that. So yeah, man, hopefully we can pick out a solid winner here. Vettori is a guy who straight away jumps out to me as a potential bet here, simply because we know that Paulo Costa has a tendency to slow down as fights progress. He's also never been 5 rounds before. In fact, he hasn't really been to a decision very often. So if Vettori can just make it through the first couple of rounds, I think he's likely to do very well, just because he's obviously, fought 5 rounds in his last 3 fights. So plenty of experience going 5 rounds. He knows how to pace himself over 5 rounds. And I also think he's getting a lot better at managing his output. He didn't seem to slow down too much against Adesanya compared to how he looked late on in the 3rd, 4th and 5th against Holland and Hermanson, which we'll see now when we go watch those fights. So I think Vettori is a guy that is improving, and at 28 years old you would expect him to continue improving from fight to fight. So at the moment, If we look at the tail of the tape, so Vettori's 28 years old, 6 foot tall with a 74-inch reach, and Costa is 30 years old, 6 foot 1 with a 72-inch reach. So both guys are roughly about the same size, but a 2-inch reach advantage Vettori, which shouldn't mean too much, to be honest with you. Both guys about the same age as well. So if we take a look at where these guys are training at the moment, Vettori's obviously been training at King's MMA for a really long time. Let's see if he's still there. He might not be, actually. He might not be. These pictures are not of... They are not of... yeah, these pictures are not of King's MMA. So I'm not too sure where Vettori's training at the moment. Okay, there he is at King's MMA 6 weeks ago. Okay, so he's posted a picture at King's 6 weeks ago, but nothing since. So maybe he's just moving around some different gyms in the California area. In fact, that might be King's MMA. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Yeah, this looks like King's MMA in the background. I'm pretty sure it is anyway. I think that guy was actually wearing a King's MMA shirt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. This looks like King's MMA to me. And that looks like their logo. Yeah, that guy's wearing a King's MMA shirt. Alright, cool. So it looks like he still is at King's MMA. As for Paulo Costa, where is he training at the moment? Let's take a look. So Costa's one of these guys that does move around quite a bit. Gym hops a little. And I'm not too sure, man. I know that he does move around. I was going to say that the mats there did look like Team Nogueira. The canvas there did look like Team Nogueira, but it's saying Team Borracha. So maybe he's got his own gym now. His nickname's obviously Borrachinha. Not sure how you pronounce it. Portuguese isn't great. My Portuguese isn't great. Portuguese is fucking great. Portugal's a great country. I love Portugal, even though he's Brazilian, obviously. But okay, so yeah, looks like he might be doing his own camps, his own training, you know, with his own team, something like that. All right, so both guys are roughly the same age, roughly the same size. Doesn't seem to be any major differences to their training. Let's get into the fight footage. So what I want to start off by doing is let's start off with Costa's fight against Adesanya, because then we can go and watch Vettori versus Adesanya, and by kind of watching how both guys dealt with Adesanya, we should start to be able to visualize how they match up with each other. So we'll get through the Paulo Costa versus Izzy fight first, because it's quicker, it's shorter, it only lasts like 6 minutes, and then we'll circle back to Vettori. So the way this is going to work, boys, is I will give, or boys, girls, pandas, wherever you want to be, I don't mind. The way this is going to work is in the live chat I will drop in links to the fights, and we'll all watch these together and we'll see what we get. So sync this one up for me, guys. Sync it up. Let's get it going. Sync it up, and we will see if we can spot any decent bets here. Let's get it going. So on Fight Pass, this fight starts at around So this fight starts at 3 minutes and 18 seconds. So sync it up, guys. 3 minutes 18. 3 minutes 18. What's up, Double Leg, mate? Hope you're doing good, mate. Double Leg is saying, excited for these next 3 cards. I have a vacation week from work next week, so I'll be in all these research sessions. Let's get this work done. Oh, nice one, Double Leg. Thanks a lot, mate. The more the merrier, man. Thanks a lot for watching, dude. Hey, what's up, Spiz? Good to see you, mate. Okay, let's get into it. Well, Hello is saying, if you want to get a proper read of the fight, watch Vettori versus Akhmedov. Nice one for the heads up, dude. How long ago was that fight? Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, dude. I'm not too sure about that. Is there any reason why you recommend watching Vettori against Akhmedov? Now, see, I wouldn't put too much weight on that fight because it was like 4 years ago. So, Vettori only would have been, he only would have been 24 years old back then. So he's bound to have made big improvements since then. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm not too sure about that, man. That fight was a long time ago. Hey, what's up, Beep Beep in my Jeep? Good to see you, mate. Have you been able to try live betting between rounds on PS38 this week? Do you know what, Beep Beep in my Jeep? I did, mate. It wasn't great, if I'm honest with you, man. Didn't have a great first experience. I found that out of the 10 fights on last week's card, I only saw odds flash up 3 times out of the 12 fights, and I tried to bet, I think, all 3 times, and only one of my bets got accepted. So live betting on UFC is not great on the Asian like brokerage site I'm using, which is fine because I'm planning on taking over the world with football betting anyway, and I didn't expect it to be great. You know what I mean? The only sucky thing was, obviously, like live betting UFC is my bread and butter, right? So, however much I can bet on UFC live betting, I'm gonna bet it. I'm gonna max bet any live bet on UFC I place. I can't always do that on like traditional betting sites because it depends on like the life cycle of my account. I won't go into that right now. It's a complicated topic. But basically, the amount that I can live bet on like traditional betting sites is always dependent on how much I've got in that account, how much I've been able to grind it up to. So I can't always hit the max bet limits, but I would if I would if I could, if it wouldn't lead to my accounts being closed. But now that this Asian brokerage site, I can bet without worrying about being shut down. I can bet without worrying about account closures. I'm obviously betting the maximum every time. What was really, really annoying is we had 4 live bets on Saturday night, and we went 2-2 for a really small profit. But they only accepted one of my bet. So out of the 10 fights, they only offered live betting on 3 of them. I tried to live bet all 3 fights, and the only bet they accepted, which I max bet as well, I hit their limit. And I really, really like how they do tell you what the max bet limits are, though. That's really cool, because then you can like pop in the maximum. Do you know what I mean? I really like how they show that to you. Not all betting platforms show you what the max bet limit is. You have to submit a bet first, and then they tell you, sorry, you're over. You can only bet such and such amount. But yeah, what was really annoying is we had 4 bets, went 2-2 for a small profit, but the platform only accepted one of my bets on the Asian brokerage site, and it was one of the losers, which was really annoying. But it was cool, man. It was cool. Like I say, I wasn't expecting it to be good for UFC live betting. I just wanted it for football, you know what I mean? And I'm going on, I'm going on there on Saturday and live betting football, and I could see like the max bet limits on football were like 20 grand, you know what I mean? 20 grand, 30 grand on some games. So I'm more than happy with that. Like in the last 6 weeks, probably made like $30,000 just betting, like $30,000 just betting football alone. So, I've got to spend some time building my way up, but the reason why I wanted that Asian brokerage site is for football mainly, and yeah, we're gonna do big things, man, on football. Beep beep in my Jeep is saying so in between round system's not ideal at all. Do you know what, beep beep in my Jeep? I'd be happy with it. I would be more than happy with the in between round system. Like if I look, put it this way, right? If you said to me right now, would you prefer to only be able to bet in between rounds, but do it without having account restrictions, without having account closures? If you said to me right now, for the rest of your life, okay, for the rest of your life, you can either live bet only in between rounds, and you can have a max bet limit of £1,000 per bet, but you can only bet in between rounds, or you can bet live as it currently is at any time during a fight, right? But the same old account restrictions and account closures apply when you start to make a profit. I would take betting in between rounds every fucking day of the week, because the biggest cock block the biggest barrier to making huge money at what we do is account closures and restrictions when you start to make profits. So I would take that all day. It's not so much the problem that I could only bet in between rounds. The problem was they only offered it for 3 out of 10 fights. And I tried to live bet every single one of those 3 fights. And the only bet they accepted was a bet we actually lost, which is really annoying. But I'm just going to have to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? Fortunately, our win rate on live betting is super high. So you'd think that even if I run into that problem every week, the probability of me getting more winning bets accepted is higher than me getting more losing bets accepted, if that makes sense. Yeah, it was tough beep in my Jeep, man. It's not good, mate. It was not good. Yeah, exactly, David. They hid that shit, right, dude? They hid it. What is really annoying, the thing that fucking pisses me off more than anything, is when you have to place the bet before they'll show you the max bet limit. So like, say you try and place like £1,000 and then it'll be, oh sorry, max bet limit is £800. Do you want to accept? And you have to go yes, but by then the odds have changed or may have got suspended. That's fucking annoying. The way I have learned to combat that though is the way the max bet limits work on most sites is most of them work within a scale of risk to them. So, for example, the way it works on most sites is they will accept a maximum amount of risk per the fight. So the max bet limit can be calculated by looking at the odds. So, for example, if the odds are like 2.0, right, plus 100, and the max bet limit is £1,000. You know, because that's a 1-to-1 payout, right? Equal ratio payout. The bookie, if that max bet limit for odds of 2.0 plus 100 is £1,000, that's the most that they're willing to lose on a 1-to-1 payout scale, right? Which means if the odds are, say, 1.50 minus 200, the max bet limit is going to probably be 50% greater than the max bet limit at odds of 2.0 plus 100. So the max bet limit at odds of 1.50 is probably going to be like £1,500, $1,500. My math might be a little bit off, but about that. And then if the odds are 3.0, which is plus 200, the max bet limit would be $500 or £500 because the bookie is willing to lose or you know, have £1,000 at risk to you. So that helps because when you do first get the situation where you try and submit a bet and then they reject it and say the limit's too high, you can only bet such and such amount, using that figure you can then work out, okay, so the max bet limit for those odds was that, therefore when you try and place a future live bet you can kind of calculate in your head what the max bet limit is roughly going to be based on the odds, if that makes sense. Although I did run into a strange situation on the weekend where, so like I said, so it wasn't all bad luck. We had 4 live bets on Saturday, and what was really weird is I went to place one of the live bets, which was a losing bet, and the max bet limits were just really low on it. Like on one site, I think the max bet limit was like £50, which is I think is about $75. And I was like, oh shit, this account's probably been limited then. And that bet lost. So when it lost, I was like, oh well, like I couldn't bet that much money on it anyway. But then the next fight, we live bet the next fight. And on the same sites, the max bet limits was way higher. Like I was able to bet like 1,000 on one of them, which is like, you know, more than 10 times the max bet limit on the previous fight. So I don't know why that happened. Because my account's not limited. I was betting football and stuff on it yesterday. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. What's up, Jay? Good to see you, J-Dog, mate. What's up, Frozen Dude? Good to see you. So yeah, live betting UFC on this platform was a bit shit, but for football, it's fucking great. Live betting football is great on this new Asian brokerage I'm using. I'm liking it a lot. I'm liking it a hell of a lot, man. This yeah. I mean, look, the most encouraging thing about the Asian brokerage site for me is, like I say, in the last 6 weeks I've made like $30,000 betting football, and that was starting from relatively low account balances because they were like fresh, for the most part, fresh accounts. I was trying to, build betting history up in so I could start to hammer them on UFC betting, and I would say probably like close to 10x my money in the last 6 weeks on those betting accounts. Maybe not 10, maybe like an 8x. So now that I can bet on these Asian brokerages without worrying about being shut down, I could probably take 30k to 300k, I would imagine, just as quick, if I can obviously keep that level of performance up, which will be difficult because it was an amazing month for us. But even 100 grand would be nice, which would be a third of it, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, gotta keep it going. We'll be live betting for all you. I know most of you watching this will be members of my website, so if you are a member of my website, there's so much football this week, so much good football coming up. We've got Arsenal versus Crystal Palace tonight in the Premier League, Champions League Tuesday and Wednesday night. I think Championship games Tuesday and Wednesday night as well, and then on Thursday we've got Europa League. So loads of football this week, so we can hopefully do some damage on that, man. So if you are a member of my website, I know most of you watching this are. If you are a member of my website, I post all my football live bets in the VIP chat room. So every evening this week, I'll be posting tons of bets, and then hopefully, man, we can grind out the same level of profitability we have over the last couple of months since we started taking football real serious. Catch up on the comments. Jake S is saying, any thoughts on that Roberts win? I think it was like every round was close. I do think it was a bad decision though. I think that Amiv won the first 2 rounds pretty clear, and I think Roberts, you give Roberts the benefit of the doubt in round 3. Give Roberts round 3, but I think Amiv won the first 2 rounds pretty clear. In round 1, he just outstruck Roberts, landed the cleaner, harder shots, had a couple takedowns in there as well. Round 2 was a lot closer than round 1, but I don't feel there was any end product from Roberts. So there was a lot of pressure, there was a lot of clinch work. He landed some nice knees in the clinch, but Amiv was the guy landing the bigger, harder shots on the feet. Amiv was the guy attacking with submissions on the ground. Amiv was the guy obtaining dominant positions on the ground. I would just say to anyone that scored that fight for Roberts, I would just ask him a simple question. What exactly did Roberts do in rounds 1 and 2 for you to score either of the first 2 rounds for Roberts? Because I can tell you exactly why I scored the first 2 rounds for Amiv. I understand every round was close, but at the end of the day, all sports at the highest level are going to be close. Do you know what I mean? Like the Seahawks versus the Steelers yesterday was a close game. But ultimately, there's always going to be something that happens where one side's going to edge it. And I feel Amiv did a lot more to edge it. But that's fucking MMA and it's bollocks. It's bollocks. So yeah, I lost a lot of money on Amiv, actually. I went quite big on him. That's the problem, right? When you go on big winning streaks. Well, it's a good problem to have. When you go on big winning streaks and your betting accounts are looking fat, you're obviously betting a lot more than when your betting accounts are still being grinded up. So yeah, I lost a lot on Amiv. That was a big hit. I will say this as well, boys. Betfair exchange is fucking shit. I don't enjoy it. So this is why I'm liking the Asian brokerage site so much. Betfair exchange, absolutely shit. It's shit. It is shit for MMA. It's shit for football. It's just shit. Very shit for NFL. I'm not sure if JB is online, or I'm not sure if JB or Sharks are online. But JB and Sharks dropped a couple epic bets into the VIP chat on Saturday evening. on the Oklahoma State game against Texas. And I literally, there was like zero liquidity on the exchange. Like now I couldn't even bet a pound on Oklahoma State. Zero, nothing. But on the Asian brokerage site, able to get good money down, man. I was able to get 1,500 a piece if I wanted on Texas or Oklahoma State. So that was a nice big winner. But yeah, the exchanges, fucking shit. Betfair exchange was shit. Absolutely shit. Like, you can bet Premier League at decent liquidity on there. European football, no liquidity. MMA, no liquidity. So I'm happy to stick with my Asian site for now. Alright. Hey, what? Good luck, Frozen, mate. You crazy bastard. You are crazy, dude. You would never catch me doing this. I am way too much of a pussy to get into a fight with someone. I would literally crawl up in a ball and burst into tears if you put me in an MMA fight. I can't hack it. So respect to you, Frozen dude. You're more of a man than I'll ever be, mate. You crazy, crazy man. Absolutely crazy. But congratulations on getting your first fight, mate. I would love to come watch you one day, man. I would love to come watch you, but don't know, I'd probably get a little bit too into it, you know what I mean? You know? I'll end up on social media getting criticised like Aspen Lads coach, who I've got to be honest, I will say this, BT Sport, I might have liked it actually, because I wanted to talk about it. I use the like system as like a bookmark. No, haven't liked it. Clown. Alright, if I go BT Sport UFC, I think they posted like the entire, yeah, here it is. This is a great post from BT Sport. So, oh shit, I might get copyright flagged. Fuck, gotta get that off screen quickly. The YouTube copyright algorithm is aggressive. It is very aggressive. I gotta get rid of that. But boys, check this out. I actually think the corner man did a great job. So watch this later on, man. I think he did a great job. When I was trying to like listen to his advice when I was live betting the fight, and to me it only sounded like he was giving her striking advice from what I could hear, but he actually was giving her striking advice to open up her takedowns, which I missed when I was watching it live. So I think the corner man was brilliant. I really think he did a great job. Anyway, let's go, let's get into it. So round one, guys, sync it up. Adesanya versus Costa. It's been so long since we synced this up, but it's time to get it going. So Costa and Izzy, let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, guys. Let's get into it. Let's go. So what's really interesting, again, I won't bring the video up on YouTube because the YouTube copyright algorithm is so aggressive to the point where even if there's just like a small little video window on the screen, you can still get copyright flagged. But if you go on Israel Adesanya's YouTube channel, he's actually broken down the fight between Marvin Vettori and Paulo Costa, which is super interesting to watch because he's obviously fought both guys. So let's be real, there's probably nobody in the world in a better position to break down the fight between Vettori and Costa than Izzy. He's been in there with both of them, and on top of that, he hates both guys. So it's not like he's going to be biased. It's not like he's friends with Vettori, so he's going to say nice things about Vettori and lean towards Vettori. He hates both these guys. Like, if you watch the video, like, he literally takes the piss out of both of them the whole way through the video. So it's a good video to watch because, you know, Izzy's got nothing to gain from, you know, leaning either way. You know, a lot of the time, this is why I don't watch breakdowns. The fighters do. Do you know what I mean? Fighters will do like breakdowns and they're worthless. Not because the fighters don't know what they're talking about. They're worthless because they've all got friends of friends of friends, friends of coaches, friends of training partners. You know, a lot of the time they're all connected in one way or another. They've trained together or they have the same circle of friends, the same coaches. So you never know if you know, fighters are picking guys to win based on their analysis or relationships they've got. either directly or indirectly with the people they're talking about. So when you got a guy like Izzy, who's fought both guys and he hates both guys, like, you can't really ask so much more than that. And he did lean towards Vettori, which is pretty cool, because that's my lean here as well. So really what I'm looking for is just how dangerous Paulo Costa is. He's obviously got tons of finishes on his record, but we know Vettori's a tough fucker, pretty good defensively, decent chin. And what's interesting is Izzy actually complimented him for making huge improvements to his striking defense. He did say he was overly defensive and kind of fought in a way against Izzy where he was more focused on not taking damage, not getting knocked out, than actually going out there to win. But I mean, being good defensively is what you want against Paulo Costa, right? So you can weather that early storm, drag him into the 3rd, 4th and 5th rounds, where you can start to cause him big problems. And I know Vettori slows down as well, but Vettori's got his grappling to fall back on. You know? Whereas Costa, as far as we know, even though he does have a base in BJJ, haven't really seen too much grappling from him. And with how bad his gas tank is, you'd think if he did start to grapple, he would probably slow down quite quickly. So, you know. Yeah, you know what, David? Me and JB were talking about this morning. How I think in any performance-driven like thing, it's quite good to be. I think in any like results-orientated kind of like profession, I don't think it's a bad thing to be a little bit delusional and a little bit stubborn, right? In terms of Vettori's got loads of weaknesses, right? But he genuinely believes he's the best middleweight in the world. He genuinely believes he beat Izzy, or he's a better fighter than Izzy, and he won't accept that Izzy's beaten him twice. He doesn't rate Izzy. Vettori thinks he's the baddest man on the planet, and we all know he isn't. But I like that he thinks he is, because the fact that he thinks he is means he's still going to stay hungry, still going to stay motivated. You know, the losing the title fight probably not going to affect him that much, because he thinks he's better than Izzy anyway. And he's probably going to come into this Costa fight knowing if he wins, right in line for a title shot again. I like that crazy side to Vettori's personality, you know? Because if you do have self-doubt and you listen to the critics, you know, and if you are more realistic about your limitations, it'll destroy your confidence, and that's not a good place to be. You know, when you're going into a cage to fight another man to the death in your underwear. You know what I mean? It's like what I do for a living, man. Like, I'm fully aware that I am very stubborn. I'm fully aware that I don't like to ever say that I'm wrong. I'm fully aware that I'm probably completely delusional about my ability to gamble. And I probably think I'm a lot better at this than you probably think I am. But I think that's actually needed in a results-orientated situation, because if I didn't have that level of stubbornness and delusion, I would just fucking cave. I would implode. I wouldn't be able to make money gambling, because if you start to let that self-doubt affect your confidence, you just won't be able to perform. You know, confidence is what you need to perform well, and if you allow things to knock your confidence, affect your confidence, you can't perform. That's why I am very stubborn. I am very bullish. I do have a lot of conviction in the decisions I make, because if I didn't, you'd go crazy. You wouldn't be able to gamble effectively. This is all mental. And it's exactly the same with fighting. I like the fact that Vettori's a little bit crazy. I like the fact he thinks he's better than Izzy. I like the fact that he refuses to accept that he lost, you know, to Izzy twice by decision. I think it's a great thing. You know what I mean? I think you have to be a little bit pig-headed, you know? And there's probably a little bit of that in all the best fighters, you know what I mean? Like, you look at John Jones. He would go out clubbing. He would go to strip clubs, smoke weed, do coke, go out drinking, and then go and defend his title against Alexander Gustafsson, probably the second greatest light heavyweight fighter to ever compete in the UFC. Him or DC, right? One of the two. So, you know, any sane person would know that was a dumb idea. But that aspect of crazy from John Jones helped him get away with it, man. You know what I mean? I think it's a good thing. I think it's a strength. You know? Strength in some people, not always. Anyway, let's get into round 2. It starts at 9 minutes 29 seconds. Let's get it going. 9 minutes 29. 9 minutes 29. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, let's go. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of pressure from Costa, but he's struggling to get anything going because Izzy's hammering that outside left leg and refusing to engage with Costa. So Costa's coming forward, trying to bait Adesanya into exchanging with him, but Adesanya's not interested. He's just hammering that outside left leg, and whenever Costa gets into a range where he can let his hands go, he's just circling away. And what is very interesting, something that Izzy said in his breakdown video, like I said, there's no one in a better position to break this fight down than Izzy's for both guys, right? But what Izzy said that was very interesting is that he believes he broke Costa. He believes the reason why he beat Costa was because he broke him mentally. In the cage, he felt Costa break. Whereas he said he couldn't break Vettori. You know, he's fought Vettori twice. Both fights went the distance. And he couldn't break Vettori. And that's one of the reasons why he's picking Vettori. Because he knows Costa can be broken. Whereas no matter how much damage he dished out to Vettori, Vettori was still in there. And that's pretty big, man. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Especially when we do talk about fighting being mental. And you see like games that Costa's playing now. He's been doing this since very early on. You know, these games that he's playing, they're the exact same games we saw Mayra Bueno Silva play last weekend against Manon Fiorot. When she was getting frustrated that she couldn't get to Manon because every time she came forward, Manon Fiorot would just circle away. She started to play games, putting her hands behind her back, sticking her tongue out. Whenever you see fighters do that, it's a sign they're frustrated. It's a sign that they are running out of ideas because they can't get to their opponent, and they're trying to just do something different to change the dynamic of the fight, to kind of draw their opponent into them. And what's interesting is Izzy is kind of doing exactly the same thing as Manon Fiorot. The only difference is Izzy's chipping away at Costa with leg kicks, whereas Fiorot obviously used the blitzing karate style to pepper Silva with straight punches before backing up and circling away. So it's interesting to see Costa and Silva react in the same way. And it's also interesting how Izzy said that he actually felt Costa breaking there. And it could be at this moment because we're seeing a lot of damage on that outside left leg of Costa. And we've seen the dynamic shift now where Costa was pressuring Izzy, forcing him onto the back foot. Whereas now Costa's the one on the outside and Izzy's leading the dance, controlling the centre of the octagon. So that's a dynamic shift straight away. It's quite early on into the fight as well. You know, we're only 8 minutes in. And what you've also noticed now is the output of Costa's fallen off a cliff. He's kind of given up throwing. It's kind of like he's run out of ideas. Now, obviously, Vettori's not going to be able to make him fight this fight. We know this, right? Vettori is a very meat and potatoes striker, should we say. Izzy even said this himself. I can kind of see why Izzy's saying he broke Costa. Costa did go down quite easily there, and he just kind of turtles up. I want to see the replay of this, so I'm going to skip to the slow-mo replay a minute. But it did look like it did look like Costa went down pretty easily and then just turtled up and kind of waited for the ref to stop the fight. Oh no, actually it was a big head kick that landed. So the big head... Oh no, wait. I spoke too soon. Let's go back. Just like a glancing shot to the chin. Yeah, well, I would die if Izzy hit me like that, so who am I to say? But he did kind of turtle up there and look for the ref to stop that fight. I feel. Could be wrong. Philip Frank is saying, I don't think a coach did a thing wrong. Yeah, I agree with you, Philip, mate. Absurd how these narratives get started and pushed around. That's what he will be remembered for now. Yeah, it's really annoying. Would you rather a coach like James Krause that tells Tim Elliott going into the third round that he's up 2 rounds and all he needs to do is coast in the third when the entire universe can see it's 1 round apiece going into the third? Would you rather have James Krause in your corner, or would you rather, you know, Aspen Ladd's coach who is going to tell you exactly what the situation is and exactly what you need to do to win? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with you, mate. I don't think he did anything wrong. Damien Walker is saying that's exactly what BT Sport did by tilting the video controversially when there was no controversy. They're thirsty for views. Yep. Do you know what though? I like that. I do like that guys like DC are sticking their neck on the line for the coach and saying, I think he did a great job. Don't think he did anything wrong. I think Chael Sonnen alluded to it as well. Because they probably don't know this guy, right? He doesn't really coach many other fighters in the UFC, so I doubt they've got a personal relationship with him. I mean, maybe they do, but it's nice to see him stick their neck out for him because they have influence, right? You know, they you know, guys like DC. I fucking listen to DC. I'm influenced by DC. You know what I mean? I haven't read Sanko's post, Biz. Should we have a look what she said? Let's take a look. Agree, I saw nothing wrong with it. Why don't people have this reaction when coaches get after male athletes? Or maybe it's just because I'm used to James Krause's cornering. Y'all might be too soft. DC saying he wants Aspen Ladd's coach in his corner. Yeah, I think he did a great job, man. You know, you've only got a minute in between rounds. It's not the time to, like, sugarcoat things, you know what I mean? I think he did a good job, man. Chris, did you do a box break today? No, mate. I think I might be done with box breaks. Might be done. Might not do them anymore. We will see. We'll see what happens. You never know what the future holds. But for now, nothing planned. Alright. Let's get into the next fight. So now let's take a look at Vettori. Actually, do you know what? Let's not look at Vettori yet. Because I don't feel like we really learned too much about... Paulo Costa from that performance because Izzy didn't give him an opportunity to get anything going. Instead, let's take a look at his fight against Yoel Romero, and then we will we'll have a much better idea of what to expect when we go watch Izzy versus Vettori. So let's watch the Yoel Romero versus Paulo Costa fight. So I'll grab the links for you guys now. Sync it up, guys. Yeah, basically, Parlons, what's going on with that, mate, is I'm not sure if you guys remember, but a couple months ago, actually back in August, some scumbags tried to extort money out of me by false copyright flagging a load of videos on my YouTube channel, and even after 2 months, I still have some of those copyright flags live where it's going through a very, very, very lengthy appeals process through YouTube because I ain't broken no one's copyright. They're basically claiming copyright on my videos, which is hilarious. But YouTube helps facilitate people abusing this system to extort money out of people. But basically, the people in question came to me and they said, basically, pay us €6,000 or we're just going to keep copyright flagging your videos. And I was like, Yeah, I mean, I'm not paying you 6,000 euros. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not paying you $6, mate. You know, because we don't give in. We don't give in. We don't give in to bullies. That's what they try and do. They try and bully people. They try and scare them. Pay us 6,000 euros or we're going to delete your YouTube channel. I'm like, cool, I don't need YouTube. How about that? I ain't paying you $6,000. I ain't paying you $6. We don't give in to bullies. And so it's still going through a lengthy appeals process through YouTube. I had enough of the copyright flags removed to post videos and also live stream. But what's really annoying is when you have live copyright issues on your channel there and resolved, it fucks with all the settings in the live streaming part of YouTube, and you can't live stream without any bugs until the copyright strikes go away, which means sometimes when I go to start a live stream on YouTube, it will just randomly fire up one of my old live streams, and the only way that I can stop it from happening is by stopping a live stream and starting again until eventually the correct one boots up. But the copyright strikes expire on November 4th, so after that we'll be back in business. Yeah, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Fuck them. You know what I mean? They wanted 6,000 euros out of me. Are you joking? Are you joking? You picked the wrong one, boys. They were like, pay us 6,000 euros or we will sue you and have your YouTube channel removed. And if we sue you, it's going to cost a lot more than 6,000 euros. I was like, newsflash, motherfuckers. You're claiming copyright on my video. You're claiming I'm using music that you own the copyright to on a video that doesn't contain music. Let's go to court. I'm ready. Let's go. We don't negotiate with terrorists, boys. But yeah, because YouTube is very broken and they facilitate this kind of behaviour, it's been 2.5 months since this all started and there is still restrictions on my YouTube account. It's a fucking joke. But they should all expire by like November 4th, 5th, something like that. Yeah, his gas tank's very bad in this fight, David. I watched this fight recently when we researched the Yoel Romero versus Phil Davis fight, and this is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. Yeah, I did watch that breakdown video, Parlons. It is very good, man. Izzy gave some good insight. I know that Izzy kind of made the video to, in many ways, kind of make fun of both guys, but I think Izzy also dropped some cool knowledge in it, which is super valuable to giving us some insight on which way to lean. Yeah, let's get it going then, boys. Let's go. Let's go. Philip is saying Vettori's blockhead and iron chin, and this being 5 rounds has me leaning towards Vettori. Yeah, me too, man. But Ryan Bottinelli, what's up, dude? Saying the Romero fight will give us a lot of what we need. Yeah, I agree, man. Kim Jong-un, what's up? What's up, dude? What is up? How's life north of the border? Speaking of North Korea, I was bummed out. Oh, I can't say anything. I can't say anything because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. All I'll say is Squid Game is an absolute masterpiece. If you haven't watched Squid Game yet, you gotta check out Squid Game. I binge watched the fuck out of it yesterday on my day off. It's a masterpiece. I absolutely loved it. And Kim Jong-un, shout out to you, you evil bastard. I won't say any more because I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to get no spoilers. But yeah, Kim Jong-un's presence in the live chat reminded me of a couple bits on Squid Game. Go watch Squid Game if you haven't. It's fucking brilliant. It is amazing. It's like, I would say, probably like my top 3 best TV shows ever. It's up there with Game of Thrones. It's up there with Game of Thrones. It's up there with Walking Dead. It's fucking up there, man. It is sick. I loved it. I gotta make a note of that. I'll write it down actually, Taz. Nice one, dude. I'll check that out as well. Nice one, Taz. I loved it, man. Do you know what? With Squid Game, I was a little worried because I'm one of these guys that I really struggle with subtitles. Like, I can't watch movies or TV with subtitles. If there's subtitles on, Like, I can't focus on what's happening. All I can do is read the words, and like, I hate subtitles, but they fucking smashed it. I was even saying to my wife last night, I'm kind of glad that it is Korean, because for some reason it just adds another level of depth to it. I think if they would have shot it with American actors, and if it was, if it was shot as like a regular Netflix TV series with American actors, I just don't think it would have had like that additional layer of depth that I think came from Korean culture's influence on the show. I thought it was fucking amazing. I loved it. Straight up loved it. So good. Yo, Spiz, you gotta check out Squid Game, man. It will not let you down. It's fucking brilliant. I loved it. Artie Smith's gonna watch it next week. Yeah, no spoilers, boys. No, let's all be cool. No spoilers, man. Let's not fuck someone's day up, because it is properly enjoyable. Damien Walker's rating it top 5 TV shows ever too. Yeah, it's so good, man. I loved it. Sherry, I watched it. I watched it with Korean voices with English subtitles. I googled and they said that was the best way to do it, because I like the if you watch it with like dubbed English voices, I don't think you're gonna get the same impact from the characters. Do you know what I mean? Because the characters are like acting in the moment, in the emotion, in the heat of the moment. I much prefer it with Korean voices and English subtitles, because even though you can't understand what they're saying unless you speak Korean, which I don't, you still get to feel the emotion in the characters' voices. You know what I mean? I think dubbed would I think if you watched it dubbed, it would kind of take a little bit of that emotion out of it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would definitely watch it in Korean with the English subtitles. That maybe I'm wrong, but I googled it and they said like that's the best way to do it, and I loved it. I fucking loved it, man. All right. Let's go. Let's get into it anyway. Yo Romero, Paulo Costa. Let's get going in round 1. Big shout outs to Kim Jong-un for gracing us with his presence. Very nice to have 2 supreme leaders in this live stream. Let's get going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go. So I did watch this fight really recently when we researched Phil Davis, Yo Romero, and Costa comes out the gate very, very fast, pushes a mad pace, and is absolutely gassed out of his mind after 6 or 7 minutes. So what I'm looking for here is how much energy he exerts early that causes him to be that tired, and then when we go and watch Marvin Vettori, we should be able to kind of get a read on their gas tanks based on how much energy they've been forced to exert in the fights we're going to watch of theirs. So nice deep double leg there from Romero. Very, very, very good takedown offense, which is super interesting. Romero committed quite hard to that and drove in super deep on the legs, and Vettori showed great balance, really good ability to clear his legs, and Romero didn't get anywhere near that takedown, which is significant because we know even though Vettori's a strong grappler, he doesn't really shoot in on guys and try to take them down. From memory instead, he prefers to get to the body lock and work for takedowns from the body lock. It's not like he's going to be shooting single legs and double legs on people. I mean, he may have against Kevin Holland because Holland's takedown offense is so bad, so he may as well. But I know usually Vettori works for takedowns off body locks against the cage. So, seeing a very reckless Costa early on. And what's interesting is, even after being caught with a counter punch and dropped, it's not making him fight any safer. He's still coming forward recklessly, taking control of the center of the octagon, putting tons of pressure on Romero, which takes a lot of balls considering how dangerous Romero is. You know what I mean? Very few guys have been able to walk Romero down like this. But Costa's showing him absolutely no respect, which tells me if Costa's not going to show anyone like Yoel Romero, well, if Costa's not going to show a guy like Yoel Romero any respect, who's obviously extremely dangerous, there's no way he's going to show Marvin Vettori respect. Because Vettori is not really a power puncher, right? More of a volume striker. So, even though I would expect Costa to start slower, because he's going to have to pace himself over 5 rounds. Like, if Romero is going to struggle to get respect in there and back Costa up, I mean, Vettori's going to have a real tough time. But one thing I will say, obviously, Costa's committing tons of energy to the finish here. We are only 3 minutes in, and already his mouth is open, and he's taking some big deep breaths. So pretty early on into this matchup, I mean, I'm not surprised because he's sprinting here, but pretty early on we're starting to see signs that Costa's slowing a little. Oh, nice one, Taz. I'll check it out, man. Sweet home. You know, I've always been reluctant to watch Korean shows in subtitles. Just as I say, I'm not a fan of subtitles. I usually just struggle to watch what's going on. I just focus on the words. But after how much I enjoyed Squid Game, I was saying to the wife, like, we're gonna have to go back and watch some Korean cinema because I know they've got some bangers, right? Like Parasite won Oscars and stuff. I've never seen that. I'll have to check it out. You know. Interesting. So Taz is saying that Costa says he drank a bottle of wine the night before this fight because he couldn't sleep, and he blames the loss on the hangover. Very interesting. Is that the Izzy fight or the Romero fight, Taz? Because he won the Romero fight. Let me know, dude. Let me know. Which fight did he blame on the bottle of wine? Let me know, dude. Oh, nice one, Paul. Thanks a lot, dude. Cheers, Paul. Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks a lot, dude. A few people mentioning this Alice in Borderland. I'm going to have to check it out. Nice one, Ghoul. What's up, Monkey Business? Good to see you, Monkey Business, mate. And we're getting quite a long break here while Yoel catches his breath off that foul. Philip Frank saying Kim Jong-un is 412-0 in MMA. Undefeated. He probably is, right? He probably is. Crazy, crazy Koreans. Like, have you heard the stories about him, like, inviting Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan and stuff to play basketball with him in North Korea? Dennis Rodman actually went. Michael Jordan was like, fuck that. Don't blame him. Fuck all that noise. So what's very interesting to me here is both guys have just had a really long break off that foul, which means in addition to having a minute to recover in between rounds, they've had a decent break there. So it'll be very interesting to see at what point in round 2 they start to get tired, because straight away you can see them already moving a little bit better, moving a little bit sharper towards the end of this round than they were just before the break. Like, Costa was starting to look a lot more tired just before the foul, whereas now he's got a little bit more pop in his shots. Hand speed's a little bit faster. And JB was saying, JB said here, right, Costa's striking defense is quite poor. His hands down, worried more about being the hammer and doesn't see. Okay, so yeah, JB is saying that Costa fights with his hands down low and he's quite bad defensively. He doesn't see the shots coming. And you really see that. You know, Costa's not taking a lot of damage here because Romero's not actually throwing much. But when Costa does throw, he's landing clean and hard a decent percentage of the time. And we've got to remember, like, Costa has got this style now where he comes forward like the Terminator, loads up on big power punches. But he does have a base in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's not like a natural striker. So it's no surprise that his striking defense isn't great. So sync up round 2 for me now, guys, which starts at 10 minutes. And on Fight Pass, it is 10 minutes and 4 seconds on Fight Pass. Sync it up, guys. 10 minutes and 4 seconds. 10 minutes and 4 seconds. Sync it up, guys. 10 minutes and 4 seconds. Let's go, let's go. Sherry Poloski. What's up, Sherry? Good to see you. Thanks for watching, Sherry. Asking, have you ever researched the fight without knowing the odds? Interesting question, man. A long time ago, before my community got as big as it is now, I never used to look at the odds before researching fights. I didn't like to let the odds influence me in any way. It's a lot harder to do that now with the community because people like DM me all the time telling me odds on fights, ask me what I think of this fight. So it's hard to kind of ignore it. But yeah, I think if you're not in a position where you've got people sending you information all the time, I think it's much better to research fights before you look at the odds, because then like great value becomes much more obvious to you. For example, you know, say you research, I'm gonna just use a random example, right? So don't think that I'm leaning towards any fighter that I pick out here. Okay, let's pick out these two because I've never seen Maria de Oliveira Netta fight before. So say you research these two fighters, and during research, like, oh my god, like this Maria Netta girl, like this is a really good fight for her. Like she's gonna cause Richie big problems, and then you look at the odds, and then you're blown away that she's the underdog. Like it's easy to see value there, right? But then when you look at the odds beforehand, subconsciously you might, you might lean more towards Richie when you start the research. So if you can hide from the odds, it's definitely the best way to do it, man. It's just very, very difficult for me to do that because of the community, the content I produce. But yeah, if you're a lone soldier, man, that's where I would do things for sure. And then Sherry is saying, after you do your research, make what your odds would be, then compare that to what they actually are. Awesome for the lab. That would be quite interesting, actually. Can you imagine if, because obviously we do these live streams for every fight, can you imagine if we didn't look at the odds and then at the end of the research session we like wrote down what odds we think the fight should be, and then we would go and then look at the odds and compare what we thought they should be compared to what they actually are? But it'll never happen because the problem is, when we do these live streams, people are always going to tell me the odds. They're always going to drop it in the chat. So unless I don't look at the chat, there's no way to kind of do that. But I wish I could, because I do think that's the best way to do things, Sherry. I think you've come up with a great point. And I used to do things that way before I made videos and before I live streamed. I would never look at the odds before researching a fight, but it's hard to avoid them now. It's tough, man. It's like not watching the Super Bowl live and trying to avoid finding out who the winner is bloody impossible. Thiago Silva saying Kingdom's also incredible. Nice one, Thiago, mate. David Zhao is saying, how are the Asian exchanges working out for you? Yeah, pretty good, David. I don't want to go into too much detail on them because we spoke about it a lot at the beginning of the live stream, so probably irritate people if I say all the same stuff again. But yeah, the Asian exchanges were really, really good on the first weekend of using them. So they're not great for UFC, if I'm honest. Like the max bet limits aren't that high on UFC, and UFC live betting is really bad on them. But the reason why I got into the Asian exchanges was for football betting anyway, because I made a lot of money over the last 6 weeks betting football. I've made like $30,000 betting football over the last 6 weeks. So I want to use an Asian exchange so I can take that money and try and compound it and grow it into a lot more. Obviously on traditional betting sites that's hard, because as soon as you start to make a bit of profit they shut you down. So bet loads of football this past weekend, and I really, really like the platform for betting football. Couple things I like about the platform they show you what the max bet limits are. So usually to find out what the max bet limits are on most sites, you have to submit a bet, and then if you've bet more than the max bet limit, they'll say like bet rejected. You can only bet such an amount, which is annoying because, you know, if you place the bet and it gets rejected, you tried to bet more than the max bet limit. By the time you go to place it a second time, the odds might have become suspended, the odds might have declined, maybe a team scores and the odds get completely destroyed. So I like that it shows you what the max bet limit is, so you can put in the maximum before you submit the bet. That's really cool. It's also all really fast as well. Like the bets are going through really, really quickly. And I also like the liquidity is very good across the board. So recently I've been trying to bet football on Betfair Exchange, and the liquidity is shocking. Like if you're betting on the Premier League, like liquidity is great. Like there's a lot of liquidity there. There's really, really huge max bet limits, right? They'll probably take me years to work towards hitting, but like liquidity on everything else is terrible. If you want to bet European football, it's terrible. I was saying like JB and the Sharks dropped a couple of amazing bets on college football in the VIP chat room on Saturday. And like I literally couldn't even bet $1 on Betfair Exchange on either of the bets, like no chance. Whereas on the Asian exchange, I could bet like £1,000, no problem. I think the limits are actually higher than that. Might have been like 2,500. So yeah, I'm loving the Asian exchange, man, and I'm just hoping that we can. Yeah, I'm hoping that we can keep it going, man, on football and just continue grinding out these profits. Like I was saying earlier on as well, I know most people watching this are members of my website. If you are, this is an amazing week for betting on football. So we've got Arsenal Crystal Palace tonight in the Premier League. Tuesday and Wednesday night we've got the Champions League and a full championship calendar. Thursday we've got Europa League. Friday we've got a Premier League game. And obviously Saturday and Sunday there's loads of football as well. So yeah, if you're a member of my website, every night this week, jump in the VIP chat room, and any live bets I find on football I'll be dropping in there. And hopefully we can keep this money train going, man. Fingers crossed. David Zhao saying, you know you're a pro when you're getting banned. Yeah, it's very annoying, mate. Very, very, very annoying. I've actually, I've got some videos on my YouTube channel showing what happens when accounts get closed down. But I recorded 2 more last week, which I will be uploading at some point. Just need to edit them. But yeah, I recorded a couple more. It's kind of tricky because I can only make YouTube videos showing accounts being closed down on accounts that are in my name for obvious reasons. I won't go into a lot of depth on that, but I very rarely get accounts in my name anymore because I've kind of had accounts everywhere there is to have accounts. I've been closed down everywhere there is to be closed down. I've been shut down on pretty much every betting site apart from all the shitty ones, you know, which pop up every season sponsoring Premier League teams like FunBet88 and fucking ManBetX and fucking all these random sites that pop up, right? I've worked my way through them. That's why I've been looking for this Asian brokerage site, just because I'm sick of getting shut down and I'm sick of not being able to have accounts in my own name. So yeah, annoying as fuck, man. But yeah, thanks for asking, David, mate. It went well on the first weekend. It didn't go well because we didn't make a profit on the weekend, but it went well in terms of the platform working well. Interesting. Dominic Cummins. Oh man, I need to check that out later on. Nice one for sharing, Sean, dude. Need to check that one out. Alright guys, let's get into round 2. Romero against Costa. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so both guys had a decent sized break in that first round off that foul. They've just had a minute to recover in between rounds. Let's see how they look in this second round. And Costa pretty bad defensively, like JB mentioned, fighting with his hands down low and just not reading Romero particularly well. So it is quite impressive that he's got the confidence to come forward aggressively like this, because it's not like he's particularly hard to hit. And we made the point that Romero's not throwing very much, which is why you're not really seeing Costa take a lot of damage. But keep an eye on it, man. Every time Romero lets his hands go, well, not every time, but the majority of times that Romero lets his hands go, Costa doesn't read the shot coming. He does get caught clean and hard. And I know Vettori's not a particularly dangerous striker, but as the fight wears on, Costa gets more tired, easier to hit. Vettori can start to rack up volume and do decent damage on him. So we're now almost 7 minutes in, and you can see Vettori's mouth is open wide. Still has good hand speed though. Very, very good hand speed. But mouth is open wide for sure. And we're only, just coming up to 2 minutes into round 2. So what's interesting here is you just saw Costa take a big conscious deep breath, and the same things happening here that happened at pretty much the exact same time in the Israel Adesanya fight. Now Costa has exerted a lot more energy here than he did against Izzy, but remember what we were saying in the Izzy fight. After 6 or 7 minutes, Costa stopped throwing. His volume fell off a cliff. We're seeing exactly the same thing happen here. First round, through a very high volume of strikes. Beginning of this second round, through a very high volume of strikes. But after about 6 or 7 minutes in, he's not throwing anymore. Look at how his volume's fallen off a cliff. He just isn't throwing. His mouth is open wide. He's trying to catch a break here. He's trying to catch a breather to recharge his batteries a little bit, to get gas back in his tank so he can start throwing again. But here you can see he's not throwing anymore. Like, he's just completely stopped throwing. So we know, and his mouth is open wide. Like, he's still moving okay, but with his mouth open wide, the fact he's not throwing anymore is a clear sign this guy's tired, and we're only 6 or 7 minutes in. And the trend is, it happened at exactly the same point in the Izzy fight as well. So this kind of backs up what we were saying. If Vettori can make it through, like those first couple rounds, even though Vettori slows a lot, the dog in him should enable him to just outwork Costa. Yeah, now you see it, right? See that briefly? Costa putting his hands on his hips. You see that? Costa putting his hands on his hips. That's another sign that he's tired. So the clue to Costa, the clue that he's slowing down, is when he stops throwing. Soon as you start to see that volume drop, that's when you know Costa's going to slow. So when we go and research Vettori now, it'll be really useful to see what Vettori's output looks like into the 3rd, 4th and 5th round. Because we know Vettori gets tired. But what's his volume look like as the fight progresses? Because if both guys are tired, but one guy's throwing and one guy's not, it's obviously going to be the guy throwing that's going to win. So this has been a really good fight to watch, and we've definitely seen a trend. Costa stopped throwing at the same point in both fights, which is notable to me because he exerted a lot more energy against Romero than he did against Izzy, and yet he slowed down at the same point. So I am starting to lean quite heavily towards Vettori here without even seeing Vettori fight. Just because Vettori's also got his grappling, his clinch work in his back pocket to wear Costa down even faster than Izzy or Romero could. Because Izzy and Romero are just looking to counter-strike. And here we go. Beautiful double leg takedown there from Romero. Drives through and gets it. Very, very, very nice. Alright, sync up round 3 for me now, boys. Girls, pandas, whoever's watching. Kim Jong-un, supreme leaders. North Korean dictators, anyone else is watching. Let's go, let's go. Alright, this starts at 16 minutes and 22 seconds. Sync it up, guys. 16 minutes and 22 seconds. That's 16 minutes 22. David saying Costa's very inaccurate with his striking. Sean saying just grinds on him in a clinch and wears him out. Think he's better, well-rounded basically everywhere. David saying a lot of the strikes are landing on Romero's arms, shoulders and gloves. Yeah, it's because Costa's throwing big wide hooks, right? So when you go to the high boxing guys, they're all just landing on the hands and arms. You also got to wonder if Costa gas even more if you make him grapple a bit. Yeah, I think he will, man. I think he will. If Costa gasses this hard when he strikes, imagine what he'd be like if he forced him to grapple hard, you know? Alright, let's go. Let's go. Let's get into the next one. So, round 3. Sync it up. Get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, very, very notable to me how Costa's slowed down at the same point in both fights. Kind of happy I sold my pretty valuable Paulo Costa card yesterday on eBay. Didn't get much for it, but it is what it is. I'm definitely leaning towards Vettori here. Just knowing the style that Vettori's going to bring. And you see the issues with Costa's striking defense now as Romero's starting to let his hands go more. Costa is there to be hit. Starting to see Costa take a lot of damage now. The jab of Romero just snapping his head back. It's another foul. So it's another foul, going to give both guys a bit of a break in this third round. They're going to need to catch their breath. Donastus is saying one thing to consider is that Paulo Costa just lost his first fight and it wasn't even remotely close. Very often fighters change their style drastically after their first loss. Good point, Donatus, mate. Good point, dude. Good point. When they're undefeated, I suppose there's no reason to change anything, right? Their style's working well for them, but then after suffering their first loss, maybe they think, you know what? Maybe coming forward so aggressively, burning myself out in round 1's not such a good idea after all. That's a really good point. Thanks a lot, Donastus, mate. That's a really good point. Oh, nice Mitchell O'Neill. Thanks a lot, dude. He's saying, watch Old Boy. Cheers, mate. I'll make a note of that. Nice one, Mitchell. Thanks a lot. You guys are giving me some recommendations of some cool stuff to watch. I really appreciate it. Because you know what it's like when you finish watching something amazing, like, you know, Squid Game. You have like that come down, don't you, where you want to go through like a real cool experience like that again to try and find someone else as good to watch. So, nice one for your recommendation. Thanks a lot, mate. I'll definitely check that out. We'll get on it later on. So I'm looking forward to going and watching Vettori and Adesanya now, because from memory, Adesanya's gas tank looked a lot better. Oh, sorry, Vettori's gas tank looked a lot better against Adesanya than it did in the Jack Hermanson and Israel Adesanya fights. And I think a big factor to take into consideration with this one is that Costa's very rarely been to a decision. You know, if you look at his record, he's only been to a decision. There's one there. He's only been to a decision twice in his career. Never been 5 rounds. Whereas Vettori has been in... well, has fought 5 rounds in his last 3 fights. So Vettori, plenty of experience pacing himself over 5 rounds now. Whereas Costa's barely got experience pacing himself over 3 rounds. And in this third round now, we're starting to see Costa look very hittable and take big damage. from memory, Vettori looked a lot better against Israel Adesanya than I remember. So looking forward to see if my mind was playing tricks on me. Nice one, Sean, dude. I'll have to check it out. Few people recommending Old Boy. I look forward to it now, man. We'll get on that next. So many people recommending Old Boy. I need to make that the next thing I watch. Oh, is this Korean as well? Nice one. Thanks a lot, guys. Nice one, Mitchell. Oh, everyone's saying... Oh, yeah, I've seen Gangs of London for sure. Everyone's telling me Old Boy. Nice one, guys. I'll check it out. Sounds good. I'm all aboard the Korean cinema train now. Squid Game's got me hooked. I loved it. I loved it. And again, what's very, very interesting there is we're seeing when Costa becomes tired, he gets easier to take down. See Romero hit an inside trip there, which is significant because Vettori likes to hit takedowns off the body lock with inside and outside trips. You'll very rarely see Vettori shoot single legs and double legs. Very cool. Alright, let's go and check out Vettori against Israel Adesanya now. Let's get into it. So sync this one up, guys. Let's get it going. Sync it up. Let's go. Sync it up, guys. This is the Fight Pass link. I'll grab you the ESPN Plus link right now. Alright, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, Flav is recommending Parasite. That's the first one that came to mind after watching Squid Game. I said we need to watch that because it looked cool, but the fact it was in Korean with subtitles put me off when they were winning Oscars and stuff. So I'm looking forward to going back and watching that. Hey, what's up, Roberts? Good to see you, dude. Good to see you, Roberts, mate. What's up, mate? Byron is saying don't watch Old Boy if you have a daughter. I don't, luckily. I do have a son, not a daughter. Byron is saying Marvin's easy money. Costa is more worried about his hair thinning and fighting. Yeah, I am definitely leaning towards Vettori here, mate. I do like Vettori here as well, mate. Alright, guys. Let's get this next one going. So round one starts in 3 minutes 56 seconds on Fight Pass. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, go, go. Let's go. So we're seeing Vettori come out, take control of the centre of the octagon. Trying to fight Izzy in a similar range to Paulo Costa, and we're seeing Izzy employ the exact same strategy by hammering, well, in this instance is the outside right leg of Vettori because he's southpaw, whereas it was the outside left leg of Costa fighting orthodox. And you see Izzy switching his stance, the southpaw, to open up that outside right leg of Vettori. Izzy loving the calf kicks. Interesting to take a look at the defense, boxing defense of Vettori here as well, because we know Costa's not the best defensively. See Vettori hammering that outside right leg of Izzy, which is significant because obviously Izzy was able to cause Costa big problems with the leg kicks. So, wow, very, very, very nice single leg takedown there from Vettori. He did a great job of reading Izzy and catching that low kick. I like that a lot. Very, very nicely timed takedown from Vettori. Very impressive. Because remember what a few of us have been saying. Costa's gas tank is so bad that if you force him to grapple, even if you try to take him down and you don't manage to, just by forcing him to exert energy to try and defend the takedown is probably going to accelerate the rate at which he slows. So I like that in a 5-round fight we're seeing Vettori look to use his grappling very early on. And he did a really, really good job of reading that kick. Like, Izzy is not an easy guy to read. Very high level striker. So Vettori showed a good ability to read it. Read a very, very tricky opponent to read there. Very impressive. Yeah, you're right, David, for sure, man. I thought Vettori looked great in this fight. Look, Izzy's Izzy, right? Izzy is amazing. Izzy is not an easy opponent for anyone. The fact that Vettori looked this good, even in defeat, speaks volumes. I mean, he did a lot better than Paulo Costa, right? Much better defensively, moved a lot better. David saying Vettori seems like a guy that works very hard. Spiz is saying he moves a lot better in this fight than in his last fights. And when we researched him against Hermanson, he seemed very stiff. Yeah, you know what, Spiz? I was watching Izzy's breakdown of this fight. We mentioned it earlier on in the live stream. And Izzy actually said that Vettori has got a lot better defensively since the first time that he fought him. He also called him a pussy and said that he didn't want to engage. But he was complimentary in saying he moved a lot better. And even little things like that, right? Izzy pops the jab out there and Vettori slips it with some head movement. Izzy throws a left hook out there and he rolls with a left hook. These are things we don't see from Costa. Costa's way easier to hit. So we're seeing Vettori do a real good job of staying out of trouble here, reading Izzy and using... Look at the head movement there. He ate a clean hard leg kick, but he slipped the head strikes. So we're seeing some pretty good defense here from Vettori already, and this must be what Izzy was talking about. Izzy is hammering that outside right leg though. Again, very, very good striking defense. I think the head kick might have landed glancing there, but you can see Vettori was rolling with it. He was ducking off to the left. So obviously Vettori not able to get anything going offensively here, but defensively he looks 10 times better than he ever has done before. And as we know, Costa does become a lot less dangerous as the fight wears on. He is really good, Rice Biz. Yeah, guys, make sure you go watch Izzy's breakdown video on this fight once it's done. Like we've said a few times, there's no one in a better position to break down this fight than Izzy, because he's fought both guys and he hates them both as well. So it's not like you get any bias from Izzy with these two. Very, very good breakdown Izzy did for this fight. Byron is saying Vettori did good both times he fought Izzy. Marvin did a good job of progressing and keeping up with Izzy throughout the years. Not many fighters have done that. Yeah, that's true, Byron, man. Well said, mate. Marvin gets better in every fight. Costa doesn't really progress much throughout his fights. Yeah, that's a good point, dude. Very good point, man. I think David was making the point as well that Vettori seems to be working hard and making big improvements. And Spiz has said as well, the difference in Vettori's movement and defense against Izzy, the most dangerous striker in the middleweight division. Well, one of the most dangerous strikers in the history of the UFC. Pound for pound, right? Aside from getting hammered with those leg kicks, he hasn't been in any danger here. It will be interesting to see how Vettori's striking defense looks as the fight progresses and he gets more tired, because you think as he were to get more tired, he would become easier to hit. Let's get round 2 going. It starts at 10 minutes and 6 seconds on Fight Pass. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Go. Let's go. Let's see what we got. So with Vettori being a southpaw and Costa being an orthodox stance fighter, they're going to be fighting in that open striking stance, which means we've seen Vettori try to go to the legs of Izzy. He's going to be going to that inside calf on Costa in that open striking stance. And the thing is, it's going to be a lot easier to land the calf kick on Costa because Costa doesn't read his opponents particularly well. And he's not going to be counter-striking like Izzy, right? He's probably either going to be stood right in front of Vettori or pressuring him and forcing him to fight in an uncomfortable range like he did against Romero and tried to do against Izzy. Vettori will be in trouble early though because we've seen, you know, Costa, big power in his hands, dangerous early, relentless pressure, which means Vettori is going to be put in uncomfortable positions and it's not going to be as easy to slip shots, roll with the punches and circle away for a guy like Vettori when he's been forced to fight on the back foot. Very nice double leg entry there from Vettori. He got in nice and deep on Adesanya's hips there, looking for the outside trip, but very difficult with that nice wide base Adesanya's created. So Vettori just kind of hanging on here now. Doesn't have too much at the moment. JB saying Vettori is not a particularly accurate striker. Output early in the fight might be a problem. Yeah, for me, the way I'm looking at this is, while Costa's fresh, I think he causes Vettori big trouble standing. But the way I'm looking at this one is, as soon as Costa starts to get tired, that's when Vettori can start to rack up major volume. Because we've seen, you know, when Costa does get tired, he stops throwing and he becomes very easy to hit. So, yeah, for sure, Vettori's going to struggle to land early. But we've seen now in 2 fights, Costa tends to slow a lot after 6 or 7 minutes. I think when that happens, Vettori should be able to land, you know, with decent accuracy then, you know what I mean? I am still very impressed though by the fact that Vettori is able to stand right in front of Izzy. And for the most part, Izzy's not really landing head strikes in this fight. The only thing he's landing is leg kicks. But Vettori's doing a really, really good job of seeing everything coming and not being there for it. And what is also quite interesting as well, by this point in Costa's last 2 fights, he's been very, very gassed, like badly gassed. You know, in Costa's last 2 fights, he's been gassed to the point where he can't throw anymore and he can't defend himself. Whereas look here, almost 10 minutes in, Vettori's still sharp, still moving well. Very, very nice. So we used his striking there to open up the lower body of Izzy and shot a very nice deep double leg takedown there. I think that was what Aspen Ladd's coach was trying to get her to do on Saturday with the advice he was giving her. Giving her advice on how to open the legs up with different striking combinations. Vettori doing a really good job there. Problem is he's so good at reading his opponents. And Vettori's a little predictable that as soon as Vettori comes forward like that, Izzy knows that a takedown is going to be coming, and so straight away he puts his back on the cage, creates that wide base, and then it becomes really difficult for Vettori to complete that takedown. But it is notable to me how by this point in Costa's last 2 fights, he was absolutely gassed out of his mind, and Vettori seems fine here. Still moving well, still good hand speed, volume is good. Yeah, that's a good point, JB. Vettori's chin, very, very good. I'm not sure if Vettori's ever been finished. We'll check that now. I don't think Vettori's ever been finished, though. Obviously, it's a first time for everything, but it does go to show how tough he is. I'll just fact check that in a second. But sync up round 3 for me. It starts at 16 minutes and 19 seconds on Fight Pass. That's 16 minutes and 19 seconds. Well, I just check if he's ever been finished. So he's 17-4-1. He has never been finished. Very interesting. Never been finished. Not bad. Never been finished. So that speaks volumes as well. Is Costa going to be the first guy to get him out of there? First guy to finish him? I'm not sure. Maybe, but again, it's stacking the odds in Vettori's favour that he won't get finished. The fact that he's never been finished in the past, and we know if Vettori can make it out of the first couple of rounds, even maybe the first 6 or 7 minutes, this fight's likely to go really well for him. So let's sync up round 3 now, which starts at 16 minutes and 19 seconds. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. It's also it is also very important to me. It might you guys might not put too much weight on this, but like I say, I keep referring back to it. I did watch Izzy's breakdown of this fight. Very nice deep double leg takedown there. Did watch Izzy's breakdown of this fight. I'll come back to what I was going to say. This is notable to me because in the past, Vettori's gas tank has looked really bad. And we're now 10 minutes into this fight and Vettori's still got the energy to drive in deep on a double leg at the beginning of this round and complete this takedown. Vettori still has the energy to put Izzy on his back, which is not an easy thing to do. By this point in Costa's last 2 fights, he could barely keep his hands up. He was so tired. So we know that if this fight does go into the 3rd, 4th and 5th, Vettori should be in the driving seat. But I was just going to say that what is very important to me is in Izzy's breakdown, he said he felt Costa break. And if we think about it, the early rounds of this fight and the early round of the Costa fight were quite similar. In terms of, Izzy was hammering Costa's legs. He was hammering Vettori's legs. But it wasn't like Costa took loads of damage, head strikes, loads of damage until he started to get tired. But Costa started to break before he got tired. So it's interesting to me how Vettori's kind of toughed it out here against Izzy twice, whereas Costa broke. I don't know, there's something to that, man. Izzy has said he felt Costa breaking there and he couldn't break Vettori. I think that's important. Roberts is saying it makes tons of sense to shoot early on Costa and get him against the fence early and just drag on him, avoid the danger of the first round KO and put the fight in his realm. Yeah, I agree, mate. I think that's the big mistake Aspen Ladd made against Norma Dumont. I honestly think if Aspen Ladd would have fought in the first round how she fought in the 4th round, I think Aspen Ladd would have dominated Norma Dumont. I think Aspen Ladd would have finished her. I think it would have been a cakewalk because she would have worn Dumont down, and then by the 3rd, 4th and 5th rounds, Dumont would have been too tired to defend herself. But she just didn't shoot a takedown until round 3. And even when she did in round 3, she didn't fully commit to it. So Dumont didn't tire out. But I think you're right, Roberts. If Vettori comes in with a grappling heavy game plan, forces Costa to exert energy to defend the takedowns in round 1, I think that's going to pay off big time. And hopefully Vettori's smart enough to do that. Aspen Ladd wasn't. Even though her coach was, when you watch it back in the cold light of day, hinting that that's what she should be doing. Hilty is saying, is Vettori smart enough to have a game plan to avoid the big power in the first 10 minutes, or is he going to bang with him? If they don't bang it out, Vettori likely finishes Costa in the 3rd or 4th. You know what, Hilt? You know what, dude? I almost don't mind. I'm not this isn't one of those fights where I'm like, oh wow, I hope Vettori doesn't stand and bang with Costa. I don't mind if he does. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't mind if he does. Like, this isn't one of those fights where if I bet Vettori, I'm going to be going, oh, well, I really hope that Vettori doesn't get into any reckless exchanges or doesn't get into a firefight with Costa. I'll tell you why I don't care if he does. Because I think Costa's one of these guys that is a bit of a glass cannon. He's not the best defensively. And I think if Vettori does get into big exchanges with him, it's just going to accelerate the rate at which Costa tires out. You know, one of the reasons why Costa tires out is because he loads up so much on his hooks. Throws big winging power hooks, right? Throws everything into him. And so if they do get into a firefight early, so be it, man. They're in the even money odds range. Yes, it's risky. Yes, Vettori might get knocked out. But he's never been finished. Costa's not exactly great defensively. We saw Romero drop him a couple times. Izzy dropped him. If they do get into a firefight, as long as Vettori can survive, the end product is likely Costa's going to adrenaline dump and gas worse than Vettori is, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's the end of the world if they do kind of throw down. And at the end of the day, if you bet Vettori and he gets knocked out, it is what it is. You know, he's in the even money odds range. You're getting a pretty good risk to reward ratio for your cash. And that's gambling, you know what I mean? That's the way I would look at it anyway. Oh, Sherry, thanks a lot for the kind words. I really appreciate it, Sherry. No way, Sherry, you're going to get me into trouble. I can't read that back. I can't read it back. Sherry, you're going to get me killed. My wife is listening. She's going to kill me. But thanks a lot for the kind words, Sherry. I really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Alright, back off. She's getting all jealous now, Sherry, man. You know what I mean? You're making her jealous. Nice one, Sherry, though. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Byron Medrano is saying, as a fighter, I can tell you Vettori will give any man a tough fight, win or lose in any weight class. He's a big guy with a lot of strength. He's just not the smartest. Yeah, I think you're right, Byron, man. It's that grittiness, right? That doggedness, that determination. You know that if these two guys do get into a dogfight, you'd bet on Vettori to come out on top, because ultimately we've seen Vettori in bad situations when he was dropped early against Jack Hermanson. He fought through it, came back, got a decision. He took a good amount of damage against Kevin Holland as well. You know, very, very tired working with the takedowns. Holland was hammering him with the elbows, landing some big shots standing. He fought through it. You know, no matter how much trouble Holland put him in standing, no matter how tired he got, he still had the heart and determination to drive through, get inside, grab a hold of Holland and drag him to the ground by any means necessary. And he didn't give up against Izzy either. You know, when he'd take Izzy down and Izzy had popped back up to his feet, he didn't lose confidence. He still kept trying to get the fight to the ground. When Izzy was hammering his legs, he still kept coming forward. And we got to remember, Izzy buckled the leg of Vettori in round one very early on. Vettori's leg must have been in a lot of pain in round one. He still kept going. Whereas with Paulo Costa, as soon as things didn't go his way against Izzy, you saw his output fall off a cliff. And he just... I'm not going to say quit. That's a horrible word, because Paulo Costa's 100 times the man I'll ever be. But when he did get dropped, he immediately turtled up. And it did look like he was kind of not wanting to be in there anymore. You know what I mean? Oh, Roberto Banderas, man. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick, man. Don't be a dick. There's no need to say stuff like that, man. Chill out. Be kind to people. You know what I mean? Byron's in here giving us, you know, good advice, dropping some good knowledge. There's no need to be a dick, man. Byron is saying Marvin standing and banging with Costa in the later rounds is where the money is. Costa gets hit a lot and Vettori can take the punches. Costa can't throw his left like he used to before his injury. That's a really good point, actually, Byron. What was his injury? Because he's pulled out of a few fights with injuries, right? And let me just check this before we get into round 4. So sync up round 4 for me, guys. While I just check out the exact injuries Costa was dealing with. So round 4 starts at 23 minutes 42 seconds. So... okay, so he was ill for the Whittaker fight, and then he withdrew against Jared Cannonier. interesting. So he had a bicep injury. So that was 6th of March. Which would be... Wait a minute. 6th of March. That timeline doesn't add up. Hang on. 6th of March 2020. So he suffered a bicep injury before the Izzy fight. That doesn't make any sense. So he's had a leg injury, a bicep injury. Alright, so it looks like he's suffered a bicep injury in the past. But it was a long time ago now, man. It's about a year ago. So he may have fully recovered now from that. Unless he's had any more injuries that I'm not aware of. Anyway, let's get this 4th round going. That's it, boys. That is it. Yo, speaking of women's MMA, before the Arsenal game starts, I would really like to research Jessica Rose Clark against Jocelyn Edwards. So I think we're pretty much done on this fight anyway. Watch a good amount of footage on Vettori and on Paulo Costa now. So what we'll do, as soon as this live stream ends, we'll head on over to Twitch and we'll research the fight between Jessica Rose Clark and Jocelyn Edwards. Just I think Jessica Rose Clark could be a great bet there. From memory, she should do terrible things to Jocelyn Edwards. So as soon as this is done, we'll slide on over to Twitch and we'll research that fight over on Twitch. So I'll leave, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll leave my Twitch channel in the YouTube comments. We basically research every fight on Twitch. The reason why I don't do every fight on YouTube is because the YouTube copyright algorithm is so aggressive. There's so much stuff that we can watch together on Twitch that we can't do over here. So I'll do the Jessie Rose Clark fight over there. But anyway, let's get through this fight and then we'll go do Jessie Rose Clark and Jocelyn Edwards. So let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Just want to get the 2 names that jumped out to me as potential bets on this card were Vettori and Jessica Rose Clark. So just want to get those 2 done because the odds are declining on both fighters. So we'll get those 2 fighters done and then we'll come back tomorrow then and do another 3-4 fights. And don't forget, if you're a member of my website, head on over to the VIP chat. Every night this week we'll be live betting football. Arsenal Crystal Palace tonight. And hopefully we'll be able to live bet it. It might be a tricky game for live betting tonight actually. With Arsenal's home record being amazing. Palace's away record being so bad. And the fact that Arsenal are already pretty big favourites. But we'll see what happens. Never know what we might get. Palace have looked quite decent this season. So we'll see. Again, nice deep double leg takedown there from Vettori. My pass is buffering, sorry guys. Let's load it back up. My pass has died. Where are we? Yeah, I was surprised to see Clark and Edwards in the even money odds range. Clark feels like she should be a great bet there because we know Edwards has got no takedown defense and no ground game. And from memory, Jessie Rose Clark has started to implement a lot more grappling into her style. So if Clark does come in with a grappling heavy game plan, you'd think Edwards would be quite an easy fight for her. I mean, we'll soon find out in the research. But I haven't been that impressed with Edwards striking, even though she's described as being a really skilled Muay Thai fighter. I haven't been too impressed with her striking. Gas tank's also a bit sketchy, and obviously on the ground she's very low level. So hopefully Clark can show us some good grappling in her recent fights, and then we can bet her at even money as well. I do think I'll be betting Vettori, guys. Like, the way I would look at this fight is they're in the even money odds range. You're getting a pretty good risk to reward ratio by basically betting on a fighter who we know can perform at a reasonably good level for 5 rounds against someone that probably can't. And the cherry on top of the cake is the guy that can perform well for 5 rounds has also never been finished. So, yeah, it's absolutely possible that Costa could knock him out in the first 2 rounds. But if he doesn't, you'd imagine this is going to be really tricky for him. And what I also really like is the double leg takedown entries Vettori's shot, in the 3rd and 4th round have been so well timed. He's had so much, he's generated so much drive on him. I just don't see Costa being able to stop those takedowns when he starts to get tired. And so I do like Vettori here. He was like the first name that jumped out to me as a potential bet. I think at even money he's worth a gamble. And if he gets knocked out early, it's one of them things, you know what I mean? But what we might also see from Costa is, obviously, in his last 2 fights, I know that he beat Romero, but in his last 2 fights, he slowed down after 6 or 7 minutes. So we might see a much slower start from Costa. He's not going to want to burn himself out in a 5-round fight. So we might see Costa start slower, look to pace himself. And if that happens, that would probably be quite good for Vettori, because I think Costa's one of these guys that's going to slow down whatever happens. And if we do see Costa start slower, a little bit like we saw from Aspen Ladd last weekend, that might just enable Vettori to maybe nick one of the early rounds and then dominate late on, when inevitably Costa will be a lot more tired, a lot less effective. Spiz is saying Marvin may be a blockhead, but his fight IQ is actually pretty good. Yeah, I am impressed with him. Especially the way he set up his takedowns. I know he hasn't got many of them, but wow, he's just grabbed his ass. Hilarious. Goddard doesn't like that. Goddard is not happy about that. Anyway, let's get into round 5, guys. Let's get through this one, then we'll go do Jocelyn Edwards, Jesse Rose Clark. So this one starts at 29 minutes and 54 seconds. 29 minutes 54. Evan Landry is saying Vettori sucks. He thinks Costa's going to win by a body kick TKO in round 3. I mean, he might, but I gotta be honest with you, dude. I think if Costa does win by TKO, I think it'll be early. If Vettori makes it through the first 2 rounds, I'd be surprised if Costa's got enough pop in his shots to hurt him. Or he could definitely hurt him, but I'd be surprised if he's got enough pop in his shots to finish him. Byron Medrano is saying a bicep tear is a serious injury no matter what fighters say, and you're never back to 100%. He tore his shoulder 2 years ago and is still giving me problems. I do hear a lot of people say that about shoulders, Byron. I didn't realise biceps were the same. Thanks again for dropping knowledge, dude. I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. Alright, guys, let's go. Round 5. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, go, go. And then what we'll do, guys, we'll come straight. That's it, Sean. That's a good prediction, mate. I could see it happening. Costa's got a base in BJJ after all. Who knows? Maybe it happens, right? So yeah, what we'll do, guys, as soon as this is done, let's go and research Edwards, Jesse, Rose Clark. We'll get straight into it over on Twitch and hopefully be able to dig up another bet here. Like I say, both girls are in the even money odds range, so with both girls being in the even money odds range, we should be able to pick out a nice even money bet. Yeah, we'll get into this one next. This is obviously another path to victory for Vettori, which we haven't spoken too much about, but we have kind of alluded to the fact that Vettori doesn't necessarily need to get takedowns. He just needs to force Costa to exert energy to defend the takedowns. So this kind of clinch work, this kind of grinding, you know, you can imagine if Vettori starts to wear on Costa in the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds, Costa's he's going to be way too tired to defend himself, you know. What I also really like about Vettori is David and Spiz were talking about the improvements that Vettori's been making. I remember when we were researching Vettori for his fight against Jack Hermanson, one of the things we criticised him for was he used to take long periods off in fights. He used to like not do anything for a minute here, 2 minutes there, while he would like pace himself and catch his breath. And that resulted in a lot of his fights being pretty close. See, majority decision there, split decision against Izzy. But you would take long periods off in his rounds, which would make some rounds very, very close. Whereas even though he hasn't had a lot of success against Izzy, he has maintained a decent output. Oh wow, he has maintained a decent output, and even though he has slowed, considering the amount of energy he's exerted, you know, particularly on these takedown attempts, his gas tank's held up reasonably well. So I am happy to bet Vettori here. Even money odds range. Think we got good risk to reward ratio on Vettori here. Ryan Bottinelli is saying, I like Vettori, but this will be his first fight that he's going to take substantial damage. They could wear as the fight goes on. It's true, dude. It is true. Although he did try and get the fight to the ground against Kevin Holland and against Israel Adesanya early. So if he comes in with a grappling heavy game plan early against Costa, maybe he won't actually take that much damage, you know. Byron is saying, in order for Costa to KO Marvin, he needs to come in the best shape of his career. We'll have to wait the weigh-ins to see. Yeah, he always looks good at the weigh-ins, alright. Costa always looks very, very good. Nice deep double leg entry here from Vettori. He's got his hands connected around Izzy's legs. And this is the thing, if Vettori is still shooting deep takedown entries like this into the 3rd, 4th and 5th round, you know, you gotta wonder if Costa's going to be able to shut it down. Very unlikely, right, with how tired he's looked after 6-7 minutes. So anyway, as we wrap this one up, only 1 minute and 10 left in this stream. Let me know in the chat what you think, guys, if you're betting this fight. If so, who you're going to bet. Let me know, guys, who you're going to go for. I'm going to be betting a bit on Vettori for sure. In fact, I'm going to go do that right now. And yeah, we'll be straight back with Jesse Rose Clark and Jocelyn Edwards up next. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. If you're coming over to Twitch, oh, nice one, JB, mate. Yeah, I'm going to run off and bet him now, although there might not be that much liquidity on the exchange at the moment, but we'll see. Hopefully there is, with it being a main event fight. The UFC seem to be giving a bit of promotion to this fight as well, which they should, because it's a great fight. It's the best fight night main event we've had in a while. So yeah, nice one, guys. Nice one, nice one. I'm going to run off and bet Vettori before the next stream. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. If you're coming over to Twitch with me, I'll see you over there in about 5-10 minutes for the next stream. If not, thanks a lot for watching. Take care, and I will see you guys